the first thing on the script is to elect new officers, because we didn't have a planning and zoning meeting in January or in February. The Planning and Zoning Rules, Chapter 2, Section 2, allows the selection of a substitute presiding officer, since we don't have one when the chair and vice chair are absent. And since we have no chair or vice chair, that rule applies. It merely requires a majority vote to get a substitute presiding officer until we elect the real one in a few minutes. So the floor is open for nominations for a substitute presiding officer.
I would like to nominate Chairman Bates for the temporary position.
All right, so we have.
I was going to nominate
I'll second. There we go.
And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
We have to vote on that occasionally.
Okay.
Everybody said aye. All right. And it looks like, Mr. Bates, you are the substitute presiding officer. You can take over from here.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Before we move on to that real quick, I do want to introduce one of our new commissioners, Mr. Nick. We want to thank you for jumping in and volunteer. You will find this is the most exciting thing you'll ever do in your life. So, thank you. The floor is now open for nominations for the position of vice chairperson.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Hutchinson for vice chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Are there any other further nominations? Being none, I call the motion to close nominations. So moved by sorry, I forgot your last name. Thank you, Paul and Commissioner McIntosh.
We need to vote on it, don't we?
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I was looking at the whole ballot aspect. I'm like, oh, we don't have that, so. Go ahead.
Looks like you have a unanimous vote for Mr. Hutchinson as your new vice chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission for 2023.
Floor is now open to nominations for the position of chairperson.
I'll be happy to make a vote, a nomination from Mike over there, the chair.
I'd like to second that.
I have a first and a second. Is there anyone else that wants to nominate anybody? No? Okay, we can vote.
You can vote no.
Again, it looks
Sorry.
like by unanimous vote, the new chairperson for the Planning and Zoning Commission is Commissioner McIntosh. And with that vote, you can switch seats and take over the meeting.
Oh, good.
Commissioner and members of the Planning Commission, because your balloting is assigned to specific names up on the screen and we're switching positions, the voting would be off, so I would recommend that for tonight you vote by hand.
Give me just a sec, I gotta find it.
And I've got another copy of.
Do you? I have it here, I just, yeah.
Put my eyes on so I can hear everybody. All right. The meeting will come to order. Welcome everybody to tonight's Planning and Zoning Commission. It's great to see a good turnout. There are agendas located on the table outside of the double doors. This is a public meeting for which public notice has been provided. The proceedings are being televised and recorded and can be viewed either on cable channel 192 or online on the City of Casper's YouTube channel. First, I'd like to read some informational statements about the meeting. Use of cellular phones is not permitted, and such telephones shall be turned off or otherwise silenced during the Planning and Zoning meeting. When speaking to the Planning and Zoning Commission, please clearly state your name and address. Please keep your remarks pertinent to the issue being considered by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Please do not repeat the same statements that were made by a previous speaker. Please speak to the Planning and Zoning Commission as you would like to be spoken to. Please do not address applicants or other audience members directly. Please make your comments at the podium and directed to the chairperson and the Planning and Zoning Commission. I'd like to remind everyone present the City of Casper Planning and Zoning Commission is a volunteer body composed of members of the Casper community and appointed by the Casper City Council. Commission acts as a quasi-judicial panel, making final decisions on some items and recommendations to the City Council on others as dictated by law. Commission may only consider evidence about any case as it relates to existing law. The Commission cannot make or change planning or zoning laws, regulations, policies, or guidelines. We have almost everybody here. We are missing, excuse Commissioner Plocek. She is out of town this evening. Otherwise, we're all here. Next item on the agenda this evening is consideration of the minutes from the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, which was held on December 8th, 2022. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of the December 8th, 2022 meeting?
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion?
I second it.
I heard you. Thanks, Terry. Seconded by Terry. No discussion? Okay, we'll vote by thumbs up. All those in favor?
With all members voting aye, the motion carries.
Okay. Public hearings. The next item on the agenda are the scheduled public hearings. Before we get started, just a reminder to all this evening's applicants that it takes 4 affirmative votes to pass any item, regardless of the number of commissioners present. If any applicants would like to postpone their case in anticipation of the possibility of more commissioners being present next month, then I would ask you to speak up when your case is announced. Case number 1, the first public hearing tonight will be for consideration of case CUP 351-2023 concerning a conditional use permit to convert an existing detached garage located at 1515 South Elm into an accessory dwelling unit. The applicants are Pat and Vicki Hughes. Are the applicants present, and do you wish to proceed?
Mr. Chairman, I was reading in these papers, I thought he was going to delay it till next meeting.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. My apologies. That one will be delayed. So we will move on to case number 2.
Mr. Chairman, we typically would ask that the commission acknowledge that continuance.
Okay.
Recommendation of a continuance with a vote.
Commissioners, we are going to continue this one. All those in favor, vote with your thumb.
Mr. Chairman, just for the benefit of anybody that came here tonight, I just wanted to mention that they'll be receiving another notification in the mail. What happened this month with this case was they applied for a accessory dwelling unit conditional use permit. However, in reviewing that conditional use permit, it was discovered that it's also going to be an oversized building with regard to the height. So we wanted to give the neighbors the opportunity to comment on that as well. So we are recommending delaying it for a month, and we will re-notify them of that change.
All right. Thank you, sir. Then we will move on to the second public hearing tonight. Will be for consideration of case SUB-347-2023 concerning a request for plat approval creating the Highland Park Tennis Complex addition in the city of Casper. Applicant is the Natrona County School District. Are the applicants present, and do you wish to proceed? Anybody here? All righty. Can we please get a staff's report at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Natrona County School District has applied for plat approval to create the proposed Highland Park Tennis Complex addition, comprising 4.57 acres more or less, located generally south and west of the intersection of South Beverly Street and East 4th Street. The property currently consists of a portion of the Casper Highland Park addition as well as an unplatted parcel. The city of Casper recently transferred the property to the school district in 2022 for the development of an expanded tennis complex. The plat is creating a single lot. Staff doesn't have any recommended conditions to offer. There were no public comments submitted, and I have 5 exhibits. A is the application for a plat. B, public notice sent to the property owners within 300 feet. C, legal notice sent to the Star Tribune. D, photo of the public notice sign on the property. And E, memo to the chairperson and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And that concludes my very brief report.
All right. Thank you for the report, and the exhibits are noted. Does anyone on the commission have any preliminary questions for staff about the report? No? All right. Next, I would ask that the applicant and/or their authorized representatives come forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and explain your application to the commission.
Doug Tunison. I'm the Facilities and Construction Project Manager for the school district. And the purpose of the replat is to build a tennis complex that will be for the use of Natrona County School District students, athletes, PE classes, and when not in use by the school district will be available to the community.
And it's looking good. All right. Thank you. Any commissioners
Mr.
have any
Chairman?
questions?
Sir, I have a question. Since it started out to be a city complex, and I realize the school district, but is it going to be open to the general public
Yes, it will be.
also in the evenings or whatever?
The intention is to have it open anytime the students are not using it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? So I see a total of 10 courts looking at being total there. My only question would be is the parking spaces there, is that going to be enough for if you have competitions there? Is that going to be enough parking for spectators and parents and the kids and whoever else?
The plan is to use the parking lot of CCA for overflow parking. That's just to the south.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Now's the time when we ask for members of the audience to come forward in either support or in opposition to this case. Please remember to state your name and address clearly into the microphone for the record. Anyone wishing to speak in support of this case, please come forward now. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this case, please come forward now. All right. Seeing nobody else wishing to speak in either support or opposition to this case, the chair hereby closes the public comment portion of the public hearing, calls for a motion to approve with conditions, deny, table, or postpone to a date certain.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve SUB 347-2023.
Okay. Got a motion from Terry,
I'll second that.
and we'll second it. All righty. Is there any discussion? No?
Mr. Chairman, my only concern, he answered it, I was just wondering if the general public can use it after school hours or whatever. He answered it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All No further discussion. We'll now vote on the motion, which is SUB 347-2023. Motion on the table to approve. All those in favor?
All members voting aye, the motion carries.
All right. Motion passes. Thank you. Gee, I like that.
Mr. Chairman, that plat will now go on to the city council for review.
Okay.
Will not be another public hearing, however. It'll just go as a,
Just-
oh, actually, yes, it will. My apologies. It will be a public hearing. So the neighbors will receive an additional notice in the mail.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Third public hearing tonight will be for consideration of case ZOC 355-2023 concerning request for zone change of Lot 1, Majestic Mountain Addition, located at the intersection of Iris Street and Paradise Drive. The applicant is Pat Sullivan, Half Barrel Inc. Are the applicants present and wish to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Can we please get a staff's report at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2006, the city created the Majestic Mountain Addition and transferred ownership of the subject property to a gentleman named Paul Perry via Resolution 06-155. The city council originally approved the property transfer a year earlier in May of 2005. And the purpose at that time was for the construction of multifamily unit residential housing. Although the property was deemed excess and transferred by the city, unfortunately, the property was not rezoned at that time, and it has remained undeveloped and zoned park historic. The current owner now intends to develop the property as multi-unit residential and has requested a zone change to C2 general business. Multi-unit residential is a permitted use under C2 zoning. Existing zoning in the immediate area is R2 and PUD to the north, C2 to the south, PH, Park Historic to the west, and C2 to the east. Existing land uses in the surrounding area are a mix of single-family residential, recreational and park, commercial, and undeveloped commercial properties. Mr. Chairman, the remainder of the staff report discusses the requested zone change in context with the comprehensive land use plan. I'm not going to read that, but it's available for the commission's information. Staff has received one letter of opposition. There are no recommended conditions because conditions are not appropriate with a zone change. And I have 6 exhibits to enter. A is the application for a plat subdivision. I'm sorry, I've got the wrong set of exhibits. A is the application for zone change. B is the public notice letter sent to property owners within 300 feet. C, legal notice sent to the Star Tribune. D, photo of the public notice property on the sign on the property. E, memo to the chairperson and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And F is public comment submitted via email from Doris Gish, and there was no address given. That concludes staff's report on this item.
Thank you for the report, and exhibits are noted. Does anyone on the commission have any preliminary questions for staff about the report?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Collins, now again, this land can be put to use till they put in curb and gutters.
I believe curb and gutter may exist, however, sidewalks don't, but typically when we do a site plan or get a building permit approved, that's when those public improvements would come into play.
Okay. Now, the right to the other side of it is, okay. But sidewalks, what about sidewalks?
Sidewalks would be required at the time it's constructed.
Required, okay. That's all.
Okay. Anyone else? All righty. Next, I would ask that the applicant and/or their authorized representative come forward to the microphone, state your name, address, and for the record, and explain your application to the commission.
Pat Sullivan, 401 Valley. We'd like to rezone that over there to C2 so we can kind of follow up with what the previous owners, or I guess 2 owners ago, were wanting to do, and put some apartment complexes in there and put some more housing up.
Okay. All righty. Any commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
No, I don't.
Nope. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Now is the time when we ask for members of the audience to come forward in either support or in opposition to this case. Please remember to state your name and address clearly in the microphone for the record. Anyone wishing to speak in support of this case, please come forward now.
My name's Mike Burstead. I live at 177 Camellia, if you could pull that map up again. I'm on right on the dead-end street on the east side of it.
Okay.
The northwest corner of said property comes off of the southeast corner of my neighbor across the street. And my biggest concern, I guess, is will there be a through street for that said property? It's been a dead end for years. I've been there for 30 years.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yeah.
The stub out of Camellia was obviously intended to continue, and that would be staff's recommendation when the area is developed, is to continue Camellia to provide a secondary access from Iris through to Camellia.
Thank you. And then I guess I'm wondering, you know, there has been, like Pat said, in the past, there's been a couple different owners of said property. Low-income housing has been suggested. You know, residential. I'm all for building anything there that'll block that wind. Fire department helped somewhat, and it is pretty extreme. Another subject would be, I mean, if you're gonna build there, those recycling bins, 6:30 in the morning, I've recorded 96 decibels. I don't know why they got to bang the dumpsters so hard, but I know a lot of my neighbors and people down the street and in that area do have kids, and I'm sure they don't appreciate it. 96 decibels isn't really within the, you know, livable standard, I don't think. Another concern would be property taxes, property values. You know, what this would do for them. All they do seem to do is go up, but if you were to go, you don't really have the parking lot for the swimming pool on that map. Okay, there it is. So dead center on the north end of that parking lot is a storm sewer. That's where the whole parking lot right there drains into that particular storm sewer. The exit for that storm sewer it comes out right on that dead end street. And for the last 25 years, I've had water coming in front of my house. The sprinkler system has an issue. Every year I call somebody. I get algae growth that's 2 feet wide, and it runs all the way across Honeysuckle to Steve's house. I've had elderly people walking their dogs slip and fall in it. My wife has slipped on it. My dogs have gotten sick from drinking it. And I think 3 or 4 years ago, I did make a call and asked them if they could make an attempt again. And for some reason, the guy I talked to fixed it. I mean, I think he shut the sprinkler system off. They've run cameras up that storm sewer, and there's a joint of pipe that is offset by half the pipe. I've been told it's groundwater, which I understand it is. It's groundwater from the sprinkler system. The city is paying to keep the grass green around the parking lot where the recycling bins are. And it just creates a problem in the neighborhood with the algae bloom.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
in all due respect, I'm not sure what this particular case has to do with our decision of a zone change from a park
historic
historic to a
Yeah, that's,
C2.
It doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm just thinking that I would hope that that would be fixed if any building or work went on in that area.
And that's a possibility. I would highly recommend, out of respect, when this goes to council, when they go to build it and then it goes to council for an approval, I take that to the city council and take your concerns to them, because we honestly can't do anything regarding it. All we can do is make the decision of the zone change tonight. So any issues that you have, problems that you're having with that area, that's not in our purview.
Mr. Chairman, I'll try to get the
gotcha.
city engineer to take a look at that, so it doesn't have to burden the council with that either, because they're gonna just defer to the city engineer, so we'll pass that along.
okay.
Did you catch that, sir?
Yes, I did.
And can I ask too, I think I caught this, but I just want to make sure I'm understanding right. You are in favor of the zone change, or are you in opposition to it?
I like the field, the way it is. I got a nice view of the mountain.
Okay.
You know, I
I
understand.
just wanted to make sure I understood where
I
you,
also understand we have to progress with.
Mr. Chairman,
thank you.
also the owner or the developer, he's in the audience tonight, and now he's aware of the problems there, and I'm sure I don't know where he went.
He's back.
Oh, he's back there. So he's aware now that there is a problem, so he might do something about it in the future, I would assume, when he develops the land.
Right.
Yeah. And we will pass that on to city engineering as well. So.
Okay. Thanks for hearing me.
You bet.
Sorry I vented on something that really doesn't pertain, but.
It's all right. Appreciate you coming out. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to speak in support of this?
Steve Johnson. I didn't fill out my little card sheet, sorry about that. I live at 156 Honeysuckle, which is right across the street from his there. And I'm definitely in favor of this changing over to commercial. It's gonna be good. I understand the views, I understand all that. But I live out there and we need more things in our area, flat out. I mean, Paradise Valley, remember back in the 80s when, and there's nothing there and the housing went down. So we need this. We need to have, and I don't know, they say low price housing or whatever. We don't know. They don't know if that's for sure yet or not. I know Pat has some plans and stuff for that, and I think it would really improve our area quite a little bit. So, and the city is going to have to do something where he's talking about, and this is off of the subject, I'm sorry, but I want a city person. They flooded me out 2 years ago. It went through, the city finally came out and found, but they flooded my basement, ruined my bathroom down there, the laundry room, everything. I called them. I said, you guys did this. I had somebody over there doing the sewer line, so I thought it was me. It wasn't me, it was you guys. And you know what the lady told me in Cheyenne? Yeah, natural causes, bud. So I hope they get it together. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Thanks, sir. Anyone else wish to speak in favor? Is there anybody wishing to speak in opposition to this zone change? All right. Seeing nobody else wishing to speak in either support or opposition to the case, the chair hereby closes the public comment portion of the public hearing and calls for a motion to either approve, deny, table, or postpone to a date certain.
I'll make a motion for this, for approval.
Okay. We have a motion to approve ZOC 355-2023
I'll second it.
by Commissioner Bates. We have a second from Commissioner Wengeder. We'll cast our votes.
Mr. Chairman,
Any
I just
discussion,
wanted to say that you're absolutely right. For years, there's been nothing out there, but I happened to be out there today to look at this property. And I did stop at Tractor Supply, and then I went over and I happened to need a tablet, so I ended up stopping at General Dollar, or Dollar General. But I think this is a good piece of land to be developed, and hopefully you're going to get a grocery store or something like that out there. I don't know what they have planned for out there, but I hope it's something that will help increase the value of your property.
Anyone else? Any more discussion?
I second it.
I know, I got that.
Oh, the second.
Being no further discussion, we will now vote on the motion, which is to approve ZOC 355-2023. Cast your votes.
With all members voting aye, the motion carries.
All righty.
Mr. Chairman, just to let everybody know the next steps, that will go on to the council with a due pass recommendation. It will be a public hearing, so they will receive another notice.
Thank you. The fourth public hearing tonight will be for consideration of case SUB 356-2023 and ZOC 355-2023 concerning request for approval of a plat creating Lucasizwick subdivision, and I'm sure I just slaughtered that, and zoning said subdivision, AG, urban agriculture. The applicant is Dell Lucasizwick. How do you say that? Lucasavich. Thank you. Are the applicants present and do you wish to proceed? Thank you. Can we please get staff's report at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Application has been made for the plat approval creating the Lucasavich subdivision located between Robertson Road and the North Platte River directly east of Village Drive. The proposed subdivision encompasses 4.6 acres more or less and is creating 2 buildable tracts. The smallest tract is 1.4 acres in size, which exceeds the city's minimum 1 acre size in the AG zoning district. In a companion item, the application has been made to rezone the proposed subdivision to urban agriculture, AG. Currently, the unplatted portion of the property is zoned AG, and the previously platted portion adjacent to the river is zoned R1, residential estate. The proposed rezone is simply a consolidation of the zoning of the property. Staff has included one recommended condition of approval that requires the property owner to participate in Robertson Road upgrades at some point in the future. Robertson Road is not currently constructed to city standards and lacks curb, gutter, and sidewalk, and it is customary for adjacent properties to bear the cost of street construction, and necessary street improvements are always addressed in the subdivision agreement at the time properties are platted. There are no plans to improve Robertson Road anytime in the immediate future. Staff did not receive any public comments. As stated in the staff report, we included a single recommended condition of approval, and that's attached to the plat, not the zoning. And I have 6 exhibits to enter. A is the application for a plat. B, application for a zone change. C, public notice sent to property owners within 300 feet. D, legal notice sent to the Star Tribune. E, photo of the public notice sign on the property. And F, memo to the chairperson and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. That concludes our report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you for the report. The exhibits are noted. Does anybody on the commission have any preliminary questions for staff? Nope. All right. And I will ask the applicant to, or their authorized representative to come forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and explain your application to the commission.
name's Del Lukasavage. Currently reside in Johnstown, Colorado, but this property will eventually become my home. So the idea was to take the 3 lots that are here right now, consolidate them, split them into 2. My vision for the property is my own personal residence and an outbuilding on the larger property. The smaller building would eventually house a guest house that would serve as extra bedrooms when my large extended family comes to visit, and potentially do some bed and breakfast, Airbnb type stuff, but that's further down the road.
Alrighty. Thank you. Do you understand and agree with the recommended condition that's attached?
I have some questions about it. Can that be addressed now or specifically? Participating, I understand. To what extent is kind of a question here. If I'm the only landowner that has this condition upon them, I don't want to take on 100% of the cost. So,
Understandable.
where does my liability end?
Greg?
Well, Mr. Chairman, the nice thing is that the asphalt is already in, so typically the adjacent property owner is responsible for construction of the street, or half a street, including the asphalt. But it would be just the portion adjacent to your property, immediately adjacent, curb, gutter, sidewalk, those types of improvements. The mechanism for how that would happen hasn't been determined. There's been no discussion of that. It could be a local assessment district or some other means, but typically the city would try to go out and consolidate the property owners in the area to share in the cost, and the city would share in a certain proportion of the cost. I can't say what those proportions would be at this time, but it's usually fairly distributed.
I feel like I'm somewhat signing a blank check, which is unnerving a little bit. And is this an indefinite commitment? If you want to overlay the street in 5 years, 10 years, and then do it again in 20 years, do I participate every single time? How does that work?
Those are totally legitimate questions, but that's maintenance, and the city and or county or state or whoever is maintaining the street currently is responsible for maintenance. You would never have to maintain or do overlays. It's just new construction. As is typical with all development, the adjacent property owner pays for the initial construction of the street, and then the city or the government entity takes over the continued maintenance.
So it's safe to say sidewalk, curb, and gutters pretty much the limit?
Pretty much, yes.
On my frontage, okay.
Yep.
Wanted to clarify that.
Absolutely. Good to get clarification.
Yeah, other than that, I don't have any problems with the condition.
Okay. Thank you. Any other commissioners have any questions for the applicant? Nope. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Now is the time when we ask for members of the audience to come forward in either support or in opposition to the case. Please remember to state your name and address clearly in the microphone for you. Anyone wishing to speak in support of the case, please come forward.
Good evening, Commissioner and Commissioners. Sean Gustafson, ECS Engineers. We're the author of the plat and the applications that you've seen. And really, since we've gone through with the owner already and Craig's report, I just would like to answer any questions you may have of any of the specifics.
Okay. Any commissioners have any questions? No? All right. Thanks, Mr. Gustafson. Appreciate it.
Very much.
Anybody else wishing to speak in support of this? Okay, is there anybody wishing to speak in opposition to this case? If so, you can come forward now.
Patrick Fennick, 3033 Cabin Creek Place. I do live right behind. my backyard is faces them. Village Drive and just into that cul-de-sac. I guess my big question was it was AG, was there gonna be farm animals or something like that? Anything like that, being that he's gonna have that?
I'm sorry, because you turned away from the microphone, I couldn't really hear
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
question. Could you speak?
I was just wondering if that guy was gonna have farm animals or anything like that on that property, or being that it's gonna be urban, I was just curious if that was gonna be a thing. But
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna,
I mean, I can address that. It's zoned urban ag, so it's possible. I don't have any immediate plans to have livestock.
Did you bring him up?
you wanna come on up, Del?
that's fine.
That way we can hear you a little better.
I'm Del.
I'm Patrick.
Nice to meet you, Patrick. But I have no plans to have livestock.
Okay.
Mostly a resident.
Okay.
But, the reason I have asked for urban agriculture is because it allows me to run a business out of my home.
Okay.
And it also allows me to run a supplementary business, which would be like a Airbnb.
Yeah.
Or a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, sure.
So that's why the zoning is what it is.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay, sure, that's fine. I'm not opposed to anything, developing it is fine. Being there for over 35 years, we've already paid assessments already on street sewer and curb and stuff, and to see that we might get into another deal here may not be favorable.
Gentlemen?
Yeah,
Huh?
is this maybe a conversation that if you have other questions for the commissioners or for us or about the zoning specifically, but you can absolutely, yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm worried about the traffic, and the road has already got holes in it. And I think that because the traffic, some people don't realize.
Thanks, Del.
People from Paradise Valley, 220 plus us, especially with the new roads up there on top of the hill, westbound loop. Traffic is really heavy.
The whole city's getting crazy with traffic.
Thank you very much.
All right. Anybody have any questions for?
No.
That was my biggest concern, was some
Okay.
of that.
All right.
And if they are gonna do curb and that.
And it sounds like your neighbor would be willing to chat with you more after the meeting or after this case is seen, so.
Thanks.
Thank you.
very much.
Anybody else wishing to speak? All right. Seeing nobody else wishing to speak, neither support or opposition to the case, Chair hereby closes the public comment portion of the public hearing. Plat request and zoning request will be voted on separately. First up for vote will be the plat request. The Chair calls for a motion to approve with conditions, deny, table, or postpone to a date certain.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion we approve SUB 356-2023. You say you want to do it separately?
Yes,
With the conditions stated by staff.
with the conditions stated by staff.
So I'll wait, you want the N? Should I do the other one?
Not yet.
Not yet, that's what I mean.
We have a motion to approve 356-2023 with conditions by Commissioner Wingeter. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Hutchinson seconded. Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? None? There being no further discussion, we'll now vote on the motion, which is to approve with conditions 356-2023. Cast your votes.
Members voting aye, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for the ZOC 357-2023 for a pass approval.
We have a motion to approve ZOC 357-2023, so moved by Commissioner Wingeter. Do we have a second?
I have a question before I suppose a second. Does that also have to have with the conditions or does that just
No,
covered by the first
that's
one?
just-
Okay, thank you. Then I would second that
Okay.
motion.
We have a second. Having a motion and a second, is there any more discussion? All right, there being no further discussion, we'll now vote on the motion, which is to approve ZOC 357-2023.
With all members voting aye, the motion carries.
Thank you. Your plat request and zone change have been approved. Would staff please advise the applicant of the next steps?
Thank you. The plat and zone change will go on to City Council for a public hearing, so there will be an additional letter sent to the neighbors, so they can be expecting that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We'll move on to case number 5. That's what we get for not having a meeting last month, huh? Fifth public hearing tonight will be for consideration of case SP 358-2023 concerning a site plan review for the construction of a 130,720 square foot indoor sports facility located directly north of the Ford, Wyoming Center. The applicant is YO Complex. Are the applicants present, and do you wish to proceed? You are present, all righty. Can we please get a staff's report at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. YO Complex has applied for site plan approval for the construction of a 130,720 square foot indoor sports facility to be located adjacent to and directly north of the Ford, Wyoming Center. The City of Casper has executed a long-term lease for approximately 14.5 acres of property for the sports facility. The subject property is zoned PH, Park Historic, and the proposed use is listed as a permitted use by right. Access to the property will be off Events Drive via established entrance points to the Ford, Wyoming Center. As a standalone facility, a total of 571 parking spaces are required, and the site plan indicates that the parking requirement has been met. In addition, the sports facility will share parking with the Ford, Wyoming Center. A minimum of 9 ADA compliant parking spaces are required to serve the sports facility, and 14 have been provided. The municipal code requires that a site of this size provide a minimum of 6% of the area as landscaping. Landscaped islands are required every 15 parking spaces. Buffering and street trees are required along all public street frontages. The landscape architect coordinated with the City of Casper Parks Division to determine the best species of plant materials that have the best chance of success at this site. In addition, the necessary irrigation for the site will be accommodated via an existing raw water system which draws water from the river. Stormwater drainage from the site will be detained on site and conveyed at historic levels through a combination of underground flow, through a proposed storm sewer network, overland ditches, and curb and gutter to detention reservoirs north of the event center. An engineered drainage study was submitted and approved by the city engineer. Site lighting will consist of a combination of 30-foot tall area lights and 12-foot high pedestrian lights and wall packs located on the structure. All light fixtures will be full cutoff to ensure all lighting stays on the site. A traffic study was recently completed and concluded that all intersections in the surrounding area would operate at a level of service of B or better, and access traffic management is adequate. There are no recommended traffic improvements necessary to accommodate the project. Staff has not provided any recommended conditions of approval. There have been no public comments submitted, and I have 5 exhibits to enter. A is the site plan application. B, public notice sent to the Star Tribune. C, public notice sent to the Star Tribune. B, public notice sent to the property owners within 300 feet. D, photo of the public notice sign on the property. And E, memo to the chairperson and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. A little rusty. It's been a while.
Yeah. Yes.
That concludes staff's report.
Thanks. Thank you, staff, for the report. The exhibits are noted. Does anybody on the commission have any preliminary questions for staff about the report?
Mr. Chairman, I know what you just said about the traffic report has not been completed.
It has been completed.
It has been.
Oh, it has been completed. I'm excited about this project, like the whole city should be, the whole state should be. But I was just wondering, if you get something going on in the event center and at the sports complex at the same time, that's going to create a unbelievable traffic. Have they thought about traffic lights up there, at least where that one intersection that goes to Amical Road? the backside.
I'm sure that that was looked at as part of the traffic study and it was not warranted. So for the few times that it happens, I think traffic control is usually provided. And although it takes a while to empty out, it functions pretty well as designed.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Any other questions for staff? Thank you. Next, I'd ask that the applicant and/or their authorized representatives come forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and explain your application to the commission.
Hi, Jessica Hastings, 441 Landmark Drive. I'm here on behalf of the Wild Complex, the nonprofit behind the project and the applicant for the site plan, and just here to answer any questions for you guys for the construction of our building. So, I'm happy to have any questions.
Any of the commissioners have questions? None? I think we're all excited about this project.
Yeah, we're all very
We've been-
excited about it.
We've been watching it closely, so that's fantastic. All right, I guess there's no questions, so Ms. Hastings, thank you very much. Now's the time when we ask for members of the audience to come forward in either support or in opposition to the case. Please remember to state your name and address clearly in the microphone for the record. So anyone wishing to come speak in support of the case, you can come forward now. Anybody in opposition wishing to speak? All right. Seeing nobody else wishing to speak in either support or opposition to the case, the chair hereby closes the public comment portion of the public hearing and calls for a motion to approve, deny, table, or postpone to a date certain.
I would make a motion to approve SP 358-2023.
I'll second it.
Have a motion to approve 358-2023, moved by Vickery and seconded by Terry Wingeter. Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion by the commissioners? No? Everybody's, all right. Being no further discussion, we'll now vote on the motion, which is to approve 358-2023. Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With all members voting aye, the motion carries.
All right. Your site plan has been approved. Would staff please advise the applicant of the next steps?
Mr. Chairman, the site plan will need to go on to the city council for review and approval, but that will be by resolution. It will not be a public hearing, and there will be no further public notices sent.
Thank you. Like I said, we're all very excited for this. So can't wait to see it being built. This concludes our public hearings for this evening. Next item on the agenda this evening is special issues. Planning and Zoning Commission provides liaisons to the Old Yellowstone District, OYD Advisory Committee, and the Historic Preservation Commission. The OYD Advisory Committee meets the fourth Monday of the month from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. in various locations around the downtown area. The chair would request a maximum of 2 commissions volunteer to serve as liaisons. Liaisons to the Advisory Committee for 2023, who will be Joe Hutchinson. And anybody else want to be on the OYD? I guess I will stay on the OYD then. So
I wouldn't mind going every once in a while.
You're welcome to come
but
visit.
I don't want to be committed to it.
You don't need to be committed?
It's open to the general public.
It is.
Come to the meetings, they vote you.
If I would just know, it would be nice to know when the meetings are.
It's the fourth Monday of each month.
But they switch them around is what I'm.
Yeah, it's the location. Yeah, location, it depends on what's available. So I'll tell Liz to put you on the email. So thank you for volunteering to serve. Joe got volunteered to be vice chair. So Historic Preservation Commission meets second Monday of the month from 8:30 to 9:30 in the downstairs meeting room here at City Hall. The chair would request a maximum of 2 commissions volunteer to serve as liaison. Who were the volunteers on that one this last year? Commissioner Bates, were you on that one?
I was, and I'm not sure who else was available on that. The times never worked for me. That's when we're pushing the kids to get to school on time.
Right.
And so that time just I was never able to make it, so. And it will unfortunately still be that way.
Well, thanks for serving what you could serve. All right. Are there anybody who wants to volunteer to be on that one? Commissioner Eskew?
Times won't work.
Times won't work for you either.
Young kids, it is a really tough time to have those meetings.
Second Monday from 8:30 to 9:30. Well, I'll volunteer so we've got at least one.
Chairman, this coming Monday is the next meeting, and we're actually starting at 9 instead of 8:30, and it's actually going to be meeting up at the Trail Center.
Oh, cool.
Is that from here on out the 9 o'clock?
No, it's just this time.
just this
Trail
time.
Center doesn't open till 9.
Oh, that's a maybe.
Right?
Just the one time.
Out of curiosity, is there a chance that you can maybe talk to them about moving that time? That maybe I know we're a small group of it, and I know everybody else there has their own
We're
jobs.
happy to float that.
But if you wouldn't mind, 9.
And possibly it'll work for Mary Beth, maybe.
Maybe. We'll ask her
too.
when she gets back.
Or maybe we could email her and ask her if that works, if the staff could do that perhaps.
All right.
Just to see, and then they wouldn't have to move their meeting.
All right. Thank you all for volunteering. Communications. Chair calls for any communications from the commission. Anybody have any communications for us? Joe, you want to report on the last OYD meeting?
Trying to think what,
We met in the state building. What did we talk about?
I don't have a report. For
Yeah,
the OID.
okay. I didn't bring my minutes with me, so, all right. Anybody else have anything you want to communicate this evening? No?
I guess I did have
Okay.
something.
Figured you did.
You go up 13th Street, you turn left or right on McKinley. There was a house fire up there years ago, and they have all these old political signs, it looks pretty bad. And I was just, how long?
Are you mad
How
they're not
long
your
can he? Code wise, how long can he have all those signs on the side of his house? You know the one I'm talking about.
I know it.
The last thing was a car that went through
That
it.
went through it. And, it's not a dangerous building. It's not, if it were open to the public and we had people in there, starting fires or causing problems, that's a dangerous building. It's not gonna fall down and hurt anybody, so unfortunately, we have little recourse to do anything.
So he'd have those signs on the side of his house for 25 years if he wants.
Yes.
Okay, I just, it doesn't look all that good, but.
Quit going up that street.
Maybe you should offer him one of your signs, Terry.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got a few of those political signs.
Pat, and I think Pat left town. Pat left town. I was just curious.
All right.
Chairman, I'd like to, congratulate you for being volunteer told
Thanks.
for that position. But no, thank you for stepping up and being willing to do it, and same thing with you. And again, I want to extend appreciation for Nick for volunteering for this, being a part of this. I can say it is really neat to be able to be a part of making decisions to see the city grow in a more positive way. And so it'd be great having you be a part of that. So that's all I have.
I second that. Thank you. Vickery.
And also just want to say thank you to Commissioner Bates for serving as our chair for the past year. You did an awesome job. Really appreciate that you sat up there. So thanks to you too.
Thank you. I second that. And Vickery for being co-chair once in a while. Appreciate everybody's service. So, all right. Do we have any communication from the city council liaison?
Where are the cookies?
There it is.
That's an inside joke.
You were late.
I want to congratulate you on your election to the chairman.
Thanks, sir.
You betcha. Beyond that, the gentleman that had the concerns about the water and everything, I got his name, and
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and visit with Carter and see if he can get something moving forward on that, because if this has been a city issue, we need to get it squared away. So,
All right.
I'll be doing that.
Cool.
Beyond that, I don't know if I've got anything else.
All right. And welcome to our new liaison. We'll look forward to working with you.
And you will have a substitute next month.
Okay.
Steve, Mr. Chair, I do have a question.
Definitely maybe.
Is this the dog park?
Oh, yeah. Years ago, they started on a dog park. And then they stopped. That's the one out on 2nd Street, way behind that cancer, Dr. Tobin's office. What's the latest with that?
What you see is what you get. What was done was basically done via private donation, the fencing and everything, and we do not have the money to continue. At the time that was done, and we still don't have the money to put in all the trails and all of everything else. But basically, the fencing and what you see out there was paid for by private donation.
So Terry, start a nonprofit and get some donations and go build it.
Okay. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you being here.
The last park that I know of that was built, or prior to that, was actually Susie McMurray, and that was all built with private donation.
Yeah, that's okay. I understand.
Mr. Chairperson, because this is being televised, the people on TV won't be able to hear anything if we don't have speakers at the microphone.
True, thank you. I forget that little part.
Steve Cathy, City Council Liaison. And as my opening remark is the private joke, where are the cookies? So, beyond that, congratulations to being elected to the position of chairperson. And in answer to your questions about the dog park out behind, and I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but the improvements that were made there were all done via private donation. And that was all at the time the city felt like they could support for new parks. And basically, anything that you see being added to parks now have been through private or philanthropic from, I think, the Lions Club, things like that, have all been through private donations or other organizational donations. And by that, I'm referring to, for example, the new climbing rocks that are down at Crossroads Park. That was, I believe...
Rotary Club.
Rotary Club, there you go. That was a Rotary Club donation. So basically, those are the things that are happening. We do maintenance on them once they are installed. Susie McMurray Park was all built with private donations. We do the maintenance on it now. But that's kind of where the park situation is.
But I understand, Counselor, so, but there's also a lot of dogs out there, and I'll tell you, that one dog park that Joe and I seem to go to all the time, we're there daily, and there's a lot of people that use that one, out by the city landfill, and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
McKinley Park.
Yeah, McKinley, yeah.
McKenzie.
But I understand.
Isn't that right, Wallace? Isn't that McKinley?
It's Mackenzie.
Kennedy?
McKinsey, yeah.
Mackenzie, okay.
Mackenzie Lake.
You're close.
I understand, but I was just wondering why it's only half completed, but you explained it, so now I know.
Nope, the only reason I explained it the second time was it was noted that nobody could hear me back. I came up here to repeat what we had done.
And since you'll have a substitute next month, I'll bring cookies.
I'll make sure to let Bruce know.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Anybody else?
Thank you. You bet. Thank you all.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. All right. Other communications from anybody else present? Nope. All right. Final item on the agenda for this evening is adjournment. Next meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission is scheduled for Thursday, April 13th at 6 p.m. There being no further business to conduct, the Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion.
So moved by Commissioner Bates,
Second?
seconded by Commissioner Hall. All those, any discussion? Do you want to go home tonight? Okay, no discussion. Please cast your vote. Please record the vote. Thank you. I guess we can go home. Thank you all. Meeting.